Xiao Yan has finally gathered 4 ancient maps and is on the verge of obtaining another heavenly flame. Continuing from last chapter, to assist Xiao Yan in seizing the map, Yao Lao prepared to play the bandit, planning to snatch the ancient map from the hands of 3 Peak Do Zun strongmen on the way. Yao Lao gazed at the retreating figure of the gaunt man in black who had obtained the ancient map earlier, a cold smirk fleeting across his face. After the trade fair came to an end, Yao Lao disappeared alone for a while, then swiftly returned, leading Xiao Yan and the others away from this area, hastening towards the northwest. After crossing the desert, they halted at the foot of a steep peak, a place that was a necessary path for their journey. Given the temperament of those 3 old demons, even with treasures, they would not choose to take the long way around, Yao Lao said indifferently, gazing into the distance. Master, what is the origin of those people? Xiao Yan asked after a slight nod. Yao Lao replied, it is an exceptionally sinister sect that specializes in strengthening their power by cultivating flesh cauldrons. The so-called flesh cauldron is to select young girls with potential, let them practice their skills, and after years of hard cultivation, absorb their internal do qi through a unique ritual of the sect. This practice is extremely brutal, and usually, the women from whom the do qi is drawn will rapidly age and die within 10 days. Such a shameless sect indeed. Kai Lin and Little Fairy, Doctor couldn't help but show a chill on their faces upon hearing Yao Lao's words. Indeed shameless, which is why they were expelled from the Central Plains long ago. I didn't expect them to return now, Yao Lao nodded and continued. I had a fight with one of them back then, but was injured by the other 2 and failed to take their lives. I didn't expect to meet them again after so many years. Now their eldest, the Heavenly Scorpion, has reached the peak of the 9 turns Do Zun, almost half-stepping into the half-saint realm. The second, the Earthly Scorpion, is around the 8th turn, and the third, the Scorpion Devil Ghost, is probably at the 6th turn level. The 3 of them can match a half-saint strong man when they join hands. Hearing this, a trace of surprise also flashed through Xiao Yan's eyes. These 3 old demons are not weak in strength and are among the top in the Central Plains. No wonder they can take out the pill thunder of the 9 colors. However, just as Xiao Yan was about to continue asking, Yao Lao suddenly raised his head lightly and said, they are coming. Hearing Yao Lao's words, Xiao Yan and the other 2 were also refreshed in spirit, and then their eyes looked into the distance, where there was a faint sound of thunder coming from there, followed by 3 black lights shooting from the horizon in a short while. Just as they were about to approach the peak where Yao Lao was, they seemed to have a sense and suddenly stopped, and the 3 gloomy gazes immediately shifted, finally locking on the few people on the peak. It's you, Yao Chan. The 3 people were stunned for a moment when they noticed Yao Lao, followed by a sudden angry drink. The 3 scorpion ghosts really haven't seen for a long time, Yao Lao said with a smile. You are the one who bid with me before? The gaunt old man stared at Yao Lao with a fierce look and suddenly asked. Faced with the question of the Heavenly Scorpion, Yao Lao smiled and was unwilling to talk nonsense, and said directly, hand over the ancient map. Haha, I didn't expect the famous Yao Lao dust to also do this kind of blocking road and robbing treasure trick, the Heavenly Scorpion said with a strange smile after hearing Yao Lao's words. The 3 people said, don't think that you have entered the half-saint realm and can make us 3 people fear. You can beat you injured and run away back then, and you can still do it now. Then try it, and also take the opportunity to settle the grievances of that year. Yao Lao smiled, then stepped on his feet. His figure appeared in front of the 3 people like a ghost, and his palm waved, and the sky suddenly surged. A huge flame palm suddenly formed, and then a palm was blasted towards the 3 people of the Heavenly Scorpion. Fight together. Seeing Yao Lao take action, the 3 people of the Heavenly Scorpion roared angrily, and the 3 do qi exploded into 3 huge do qi light pillars, colliding with the flame giant hand. When the 2 sides collided, the terrifying power fluctuated like a tsunami sweeping everything, and the nearby high mountains were shattered by the energy aftershock, and the terrifying fierce wind swept away, and the 3 people of the Heavenly Scorpion also took a few steps back. This old guy is now so terrible, and the 3 people together can barely fight against him. The 3 people of the Heavenly Scorpion's faces changed slightly, their eyes flickered, and suddenly they looked at Xiao Yan and the three people on the distant peak, and said coldly, "Third, those three people are with this old guy. Catch them. If you fight hard, you will fall into a hard battle, and it is better to catch Xiao Yan and the three people as hostages first, so that you can get away smoothly." The human scorpion looked at the distance and nodded with a smile on his face, saying, "It will take me a few minutes." As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped on the void and rushed straight to the direction where Xiao Yan and the three people were. Seeing this, Yao Lao frowned slightly and was about to stop, but the heavenly scorpion and the earth scorpion had already pushed their do qi to the extreme, and then the tricky attack was all over the sky. Yao Lao's eyes condensed, and the three people of the heavenly scorpion could barely fight against him when they joined hands, and now they dared to divide one person, which was simply looking for death. As for Xiao Yan, he was not too worried. Although the human scorpion was at the peak of the 6 turns of Dozun, it was almost impossible to solve Xiao Yan and them in a short time. Just as the heavenly scorpion and the earth scorpion held back Yao Lao, the human scorpion also appeared in front of Xiao Yan and the three people not far away like lightning. After his appearance, he stared at the graceful figures of Kai Lin and little fairy doctor with hot eyes, curled his lips, and said, "I didn't expect to meet 2 such beautiful women, which is the biggest harvest of this trip. Hey, the boy goes to die, and the beauty stays." As soon as he finished speaking, he punched Xiao Yan from a distance. Seeing this, Xiao Yan's face was expressionless, and then he suddenly stepped on the ground, and a huge lava torrent surged out and collided fiercely with the strong fist wind. After blocking the attack of the human scorpion, Xiao Yan quickly made a complex seal, and the clan mark on his forehead also reappeared. With the appearance of the clan mark, Xiao Yan's breath also suddenly rose, and he was instantly promoted from the peak of the 8 stars to the level close to the 3rd turn. The human scorpion is a master at the peak of the 6 turns of Dozun, even more powerful than the 4 heavenly Dozuns of the Soul Hall, so Xiao Yan must be more cautious. "The boy has some tricks," the human scorpion said with a smile, but just as he was about to make a move, his face suddenly changed, and a terrifying energy fluctuation that made him feel palpitations suddenly spread. Feeling this energy fluctuation, the human scorpion's eyes showed a look of fear, and he saw 5 flames suspended in front of the young man in black, for heavenly flames. Xiao Yan looked at the human scorpion with a face that changed dramatically, and this was the first time he had added the life-transforming flame to the other 4 heavenly flames since he refined the bone spirit cold fire, and never showed the 5-colored angry Buddha lotus flame. At this time, the human scorpion looked at the flames controlled by Xiao Yan, and his heart was also a bit of a storm. This madman dares to fuse the heavenly flames. The human scorpion's face changed, his pupils suddenly contracted, and a terrible destructive power quietly overflowed from it. Xiao Yan's face was cold, looking at the human scorpion who showed a panicked look in the huge bell, and a sneer rose at the corner of his mouth. The bone wings shook, and his figure quickly retreated, while the hand seal in his hand changed. With the word sound coming out of Xiao Yan's mouth, the 5-colored fire lotus that flew to the huge bell also quietly stopped, and then exploded in front of the human scorpion's dumbfounded eyes. As the sandstorm subsided, a thin figure in black appeared in the air. When he saw Xiao Yan safe and sound, Kai Lin and little fairy doctor both breathed a sigh of relief. Xiao Yan wiped the sweat from his forehead, which was the first time he used the Buddha's angry fire lotus condensed from 5 flames, and its power far exceeded expectations. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Yan looked up at the place where the human scorpion was originally, which was already empty, and even the figure was no longer there. And with the disappearance of the figure, the breath of the human scorpion also disappeared, as if it was completely erased. This is just the power of 4 heavenly flames plus a pseudo-heavenly flame fusion, and it can be imagined that if Xiao Yan can fuse 5 heavenly flames, the power will be astonishing, and I'm afraid that the real half-do sheng strong man will also be blown to nothingness in one blow. The astonishing movement caused by Xiao Yan naturally attracted the attention of the distant Yao Lao and others. The heavenly scorpion and the earth scorpion were shocked by the current situation, looking at the place that had become a huge plain, and they couldn't help but feel cold. And when they looked at the young man in the distance, Their hearts were full of fear. "This kid is too weird," said the earth scorpion, swallowing a mouthful of saliva. "Where is the third brother?" The heavenly scorpion anxiously looked around, and he couldn't even feel the breath of the human scorpion. "It seems that the kid was blown to nothing by him," said the earth scorpion in disbelief. Hearing this, the heavenly scorpion's eyes showed a look of horror. To make the human scorpion disappear in one blow, even if he did his best, it was impossible. Just as they were about to escape, an old cold laugh fell from the sky. "Can you go?" Then a huge flame hand formed in the air, piercing through the space and slapping hard on the heavenly scorpion and the earth scorpion. Struck by such a blow, the two people flew out like shells and fell heavily to the ground, directly smashing two huge pits nearly 100 feet in size. In the huge pits, the heavenly scorpion and the earth scorpion's faces were pale, and then they endured the pain and fled separately. Seeing the two people fleeing separately, Yao Lao did not hesitate to blast the earth scorpion with a palm, killing it directly, and then took the treasures of the earth scorpion. Looking at the direction of the heavenly scorpion's escape, he turned his head and whispered to Xiao Yan and the three people, "Check if there is an ancient map. I will chase that guy." Xiao Yan caught the item thrown by Yao Lao, searched carefully, and found that there was no thing they wanted, and then shook his head. There should be on the body of the heavenly scorpion. However, a golden scroll suddenly appeared in his hand, which was the Vajra glass body auctioned at the trade fair, and he didn't expect to be obtained by the earth scorpion. "We didn't spend a penny but got a lot of benefits," said little fairy doctor with a light smile. "These three guys cultivated with women as flesh cauldrons, and this outcome is self-inflicted," said Kai Lin lightly. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded. "These three people have done evil all their lives, and now this end is also retribution. I don't know how the teacher is doing." Xiao Yan looked up at the direction where Yao Lao disappeared. "Yao Lao's strength will not let the heavenly scorpion escape," said little fairy doctor to comfort. Xiao Yan nodded and was about to speak, but he heard the sound of breaking wind coming from the sky. He saw the figure of Yao Lao sweeping over like lightning and stopped in front of the three people. "Ha ha! This time it's really refreshing." Yao Lao laughed and said, "Finally, the old grudge with the three ghosts of the scorpion demon has been solved, and a worry has been solved." "Teacher," Xiao Yan smiled and then said. Seeing Xiao Yan's appearance, Yao Lao knew what he was thinking and immediately stretched out his hand, and an ancient fragment appeared in the palm of his hand, which was the last fragment. Xiao Yan took over the fragment and let out a sigh of relief. After a search for more than 10 years, he finally got what he wanted, and now all the parts have been collected. Yao Lao said, "The pure lotus demon fire. You finally belong to me." Seeing the joy on Xiao Yan's face, Yao Lao also smiled. He naturally understood how much hard work and sweat Xiao Yan had gone through to collect these fragmented maps. "Now let's leave. The movement here has caused too much, and it will soon attract strong people to come and check." Yao Lao looked around and reminded. Xiao Yan nodded and the others didn't stay any longer, and in a few moments, they had disappeared at the end of the sky. On a mountain peak thousands of miles away from the previous battlefield, there was suddenly a sound of breaking wind, and then several figures appeared on the top of the mountain peak, which was Xiao Yan and them. "Here should be safe. I have erased the traces on the road. Even the Dosheng strong man is difficult to track here," Yao Lao said with a smile. "Try the ancient map. I am also very curious what will happen after this thing is put together." After speaking, Yao Lao waved his hand to seal the area, and then took out a piece of broken ancient maps from the space ring, suspended in front of him. Looking at these broken but seemingly very ancient fragments, Xiao Yan's eyes once again burst with excitement. He couldn't help rubbing his hands, and then carefully pieced them together according to the traces of the lines. When the last piece was placed in the correct position, Xiao Yan also breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, and he stared at the ancient map with a hot gaze, but he was slightly stunned. The complete ancient map does have landscape lines, but the so-called lines are very ordinary, and there is no clear target and route. It looks like a random landscape painting. "What is this situation?" Xiao Yan said. "Don't worry, this ancient map is very ancient. It won't be deliberately deceiving people. It must have its own secrets," Yao Lao said more calmly, thinking and saying, "Try to drop a drop of blood." Xiao Yan hesitated for a while, then cut his middle finger. A drop of blood fell on the corner of the ancient map and slowly penetrated. But they waited for a while. In addition to the ancient map with a blood stain, there was no other reaction. Seeing this, Yao Lao also sighed lightly and shook his head into silence. And the atmosphere here is a bit depressing and heavy. The joy of the previous victory has been completely dispersed. Such silence lasted for a long time. Xiao Yan looked at the ancient map in front of him and shook his head slightly. Since it is useless, what is the use of keeping you? As soon as the words fell, a strange fire suddenly rose in his hand, directly rolling the ancient map into it. Xiao Yan's sudden action surprised Yao Lao, and he was about to stop it when his eyes suddenly shrank, and he said in surprise, "How can this ancient map not be burnt?" Xiao Yan's strange fire has integrated 4 different flames, and its power is great enough to burn everything, but now it can't even burn a piece of paper. Hearing this, Xiao Yan was stunned for a while, then quickly increased the power of the strange fire, and the lines on the ancient map began to slowly light up, as if they were about to break out of the map. Seeing this scene, Yao Lao and others were also pleasantly surprised, and as the power of the fire became stronger and stronger, the lines on the ancient map also became brighter and brighter. At a certain moment, the ancient map suddenly trembled, and the lines directly flew out from the paper surface, and finally turned into a string of ancient text suspended in front of everyone. The double moons appear together, the 9 stars are united, and the world's tide of demons and fire comes. When Yao Lao slowly read these ancient texts, his face also showed a shocked expression. Xiao Yan looked at these texts and frowned and asked, "What does this mean?" Yao Lao slowly breathed out a breath and said softly, "The double moons appear together, the 9 stars are united," which refers to a special celestial phenomenon, but this phenomenon is once in 1,000 years. The world's tide is the strange phenomenon caused by this phenomenon. You should understand that when the world's tide appears, the pure lotus demon fire will also come to the world. Hearing this, Xiao Yan was stunned for a while, and then said, "Once in 1,000 years, isn't that no chance?" According to the time calculation, it has been 997 years since the last world's tide, which means there are still 3 years. Yao Lao shook his head and felt relieved, and then continued, "Well, otherwise, the pure lotus demon fire is too powerful. You can't control it now. Even if you get it, you can only watch it helplessly." After so many years of hard work, I only got this information, Xiao Yan said with a wry smile. According to the meaning of these words, when the time comes, the demon fire will naturally come, and everyone will have a chance to try to control it. So what is the use of finding this ancient map? Yao Lao also helplessly shrugged his hands, thinking about it. It really seems a bit unworthy. Xiao Yan took a look at the ancient map that was still undamaged in the fire, reached out to take it out, but just as his hand was about to touch the ancient map, the fire lotus pattern on the ancient map suddenly wriggled, and then turned into a lightning and shot directly into Xiao Yan's brow. This sudden change was too sudden. Even if Yao Lao and Xiao Yan were very close, they were still caught off guard. So when the strange light penetrated Xiao Yan's brow, Yao Lao suddenly realized the seriousness of the situation, and his face suddenly became very ugly. Kai Lin and little fairy doctor beside also reacted a little later, and their faces were pale because of the scare. This ancient map is unpredictable, and no one can be sure whether the thing it releases is a blessing or a disaster. When Xiao Yan was penetrated by the strange light in his brow, he was also stunned, and then quickly reacted, closed his eyes, and began to use the power of the soul to make a fierce investigation in the brow area. Soon he found a fist-sized light ball. He stared at this white light ball, and then used the power of the soul to wrap it. Just at this moment, a white light suddenly burst out in the light ball, like a lightning, directly into the deep soul of Xiao Yan. When the white light entered the soul, Xiao Yan's body suddenly stiffened, and his face showed a painful expression. Yao Lao, who was watching Xiao Yan, saw the painful expression on his face and immediately sank his heart, and quickly put his hand on Xiao Yan's head, trying to forcibly inject the power of the soul into his body. However, just as Yao Lao was about to act, Xiao Yan suddenly opened his eyes and gasped for breath. Seeing Xiao Yan open his eyes again, Yao Lao immediately stopped the action and asked, "What's going on?" "I don't know." Xiao Yan took a deep breath and shook his head. How old were you when we first met? Yao Lao suddenly asked Xiao Yan. 15 years old, Xiao Yan was stunned. Looking at Yao Lao in surprise, obviously not understanding his meaning. Hearing this, Yao Lao breathed a little bit relieved and explained. I'm worried that your body has been forcibly occupied by someone else. Some ancient strong people have died, but their souls remain, and those powerful people can directly swallow other people's souls and occupy their bodies. So I want to confirm if you are still yourself? Xiao Yan could only smile bitterly and shake his head. What exactly is that thing? Yao Lao's face became a bit heavy. Xiao Yan rubbed his brow for a while and said, I don't know. When I touched it, I only received 4 words of information. Yao Lao asked, What? Pure Lotus Demon Saint, Xiao Yan said one by one. Yao Lao was slightly stunned and then fell into contemplation. Sitting alone on a stone, he seemed to have some impression of this name. About 10 minutes later, Yao Lao finally slowly picked up his head, and his eyes looked at Xiao Yan and said in a low voice, If I'm not mistaken, the Pure Lotus Demon Saint should be the master of the Pure Lotus Demon Fire. He was a famous character in ancient times. I have occasionally seen his deeds in ancient books. It is said that in that era, he was known as the person closest to the Dou Emperor. The person closest to the Dou Emperor. Xiao Yan clenched his hand, and he didn't expect the strength of the Pure Lotus Demon Saint to reach such a level. Then he asked, Is the thing in my brow the legacy of the Pure Lotus Demon Saint? It is indeed. This ancient map may also be left by the Pure Lotus Demon Saint. Yao Lao nodded slightly, looking at Xiao Yan's puzzled face and said with a wry smile, I'm not very clear about the specific situation. According to what I know from ancient books, although the Pure Lotus Demon Saint is a bit strange, his actions are quite upright, and the things he left should not cause too much harm to you. Hearing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but roll his eyes. This reason seems too far-fetched. This thing can be hidden in the ancient map. I guess it may be related to the Pure Lotus Demon Fire. Perhaps this is the benefit of collecting the complete ancient map, Yao Lao said with a smile. Now he can only comfort Xiao Yan like this. Then he patted Xiao Yan on the shoulder. His tone was slightly serious and said, What you need to consider now is how to improve your strength to Dou Sheng within 3 years. As for the power of the Pure Lotus Demon Fire, I won't say more. To be honest, even I encounter it now. There is only one end, that is to become its fire slave. Then the current way is that Xiao Yan must reach Dou Sheng within 3 years, right? Kailin said on the side. Yao Lao nodded slightly and looked at Xiao Yan and said, Originally, this is a very low probability of success, but fortunately, you have a good opportunity. Xiao Yan was stunned and then suddenly realized, the teacher means the Bodhi ancient tree? Yao Lao nodded and said with a smile, You have the Bodhi seed in your hand. Although the purity is not high, but it is enough to make you have an induction to the Bodhi ancient tree, and if you really want to subdue the Pure Lotus Demon Fire, this is your only way out, so you must get the Bodhi heart. Xiao Yan sighed and had to nod. It seems that he must go to the primeval wilds this time. Otherwise, according to the normal cultivation speed, he can't reach the level of Dou Sheng within 3 years. First, go back to the Falling Star Pavilion and make a good arrangement. In the coming days, the central plains will be turbulent because of the Bodhi ancient tree. At that time, the primeval wilds will be really lively. Yao Lao stood up and said calmly, Whether you can become a Dou Sheng within 3 years depends on this time. With a decision in mind, Xiao Yan and others naturally did not continue to stay here, and immediately set off to return to the Falling Star Pavilion. After returning to the pavilion, they rested and reorganized for a day or two. During this time, news about the Bodhi ancient tree kept coming, and the strong people in the central plains have started to take action, all going to the primeval wilds, and a battle for the Bodhi